there, welcome to the 16th episode of Under the Radar. I'm pleased to be back, and I've been working real hard over here. And today I'm going to cover a band that I'm wearing the shirt of, a band called Spitalfield from the Chicagoland area. And the first time that I ever saw this band, Spitalfield, was in Madison, Wisconsin. They were opening up for a band that I was a huge fan of called Hey Mercedes, which was ex-members of Braid. And at that show, I just so happened to get my hands on this sampler CD put out by Sinister Label of the band Division and Spitalfield together. The two Spitalfield songs on here were off of their split 12-inch vinyl with Don't Worry About It, which I never did really get my hands on. But the other song on this sampler was from their debut CD and album, Faster Crashes Harder. And I have to say, I wasn't like the biggest fan of this material by this band, but this was the first time that I actually heard this band, and ironically in Madison of all places instead of like the Chicagoland area. But they were on Sinister Label. As I had mentioned previously in the episode that I covered Logan's Lawson, Spitalfield, Division, Divide by Zero, Preacher Gone to Texas, all these different bands were on this other label called Sinister. And Spitalfield was kind of making moves in the area. They were playing a lot of local venues and were about to embark on a tour with Fall Out Boy before Fall Out Boy, I think it was their first tour. It was like a 2-week tour or something like that. But Spitalfield had gone in to record this EP called the Cloak Dagger Club EP. And this was a game changer in our scene, I think. At least for me it was. Because like I said, I wasn't, the early stuff was kind of rough and raw and a band trying to figure themselves out, but this one was just 5 songs. It actually originally came out on Digipack. Unfortunately, I don't have the original copy of this EP anymore. I think my sister has it, the Digipack version. This is actually a collection called Everything 1998 to 2002. And what was really cool about this was that they put all the artwork from every album and like had a little description written by the band, a little commentary on, you know, the recording process and what it was like back in the day. But yeah, it's a very cool collection that Sinister put out later called Everything 1998 to 2002, which contains 19 songs from their back catalog before they were to sign to Victory. So this was the 12th release by Sinister in the catalog, and it was recorded by Mark Sampson at Cadence Studios. And my personal favorite song on this bad boy was I Can't Hear You.
While I stare at the walls, turn your back on me for that picket fence again. In your arms I will fold you twice, again and again. In this room with these backward ceiling fan, turn things upside down again. At one time this felt right, and it's true, you know that I can't hear you when you say our words, they come out wrong. And it's true, you know that you can't hear me when I say our worlds, they come apart.
Great song. Another thing about this EP was it was the first release that Spitalfield put out with their new guitarist Dan Lauder, who became a staple in the band from this point on and did the next 2 records on Victory, I believe. Maybe even the third. I'm not sure if he played on the third record they did for Victory. But you could hear a noticeable change in guitar tone, in different effects pedals, and it was very, very cool what they were doing. You can really hear it in the opening track to this EP, Are We Still Here?
It's easier to play things down than hold your ground. That's when never come together. We'll never come together.
Love that song. Also, after the release of this EP, Terry, their bass player, left the band and was replaced by TJ from the band Knockout, which I'll be covering pretty soon here in the upcoming episodes. But another song I really loved on this EP was Leaving Home.
Smile like I'm insane, with my feet on the ground and my head in the clouds. Will you think of me the same when I'm off on my own and away for the whole summer? Things aren't the same. Don't wait for me tonight. Not packed up and I moved out. Our dreams aren't the same. Don't wait for me tonight.
A very early kind of Jimmy Eat World, Get Up Kids feel, very like pure kind of like roots emo vibe on this EP. I really dug that style because that's kind of what my band Midwest Blue was kind of going for at the time when we were about to record our first full length after our first EP. And yeah, just remember really digging on this CD in particular. And like I said, Spitalfield went on tour with Fall Out Boy for, I think it was like 2 weeks. You can find, there's an issue of AP that covers Take This to Your Graves history. And you can find a little bit more about that story if you want. I'll probably cover it in the future when I get a little further down in the line of the catalogs that I'm trying to cover. But it seemed like as soon as they got done with that tour with Fall Out Boy, both bands, including some other bands, it was just like bam, bands getting signed left and right. It was like Fall Out Boy goes to Fuel by Ramen, August Premiere goes to Fuel by Ramen, Spitalfield goes to Victory. Knockout had just released their album on Fearless Records at the time, and it was just getting kind of crazy. Like I said, Red Hot Valentine's in the last episode was going to Polyvinyl. There's a lot of kind of power moves going on, at least for us outside bands that weren't on any label, with any notoriety, that is. But yeah, this band started playing Metro, Fireside, all those venues. Definitely, I would consider them to be one of the OG bands in our scene, and along with some of the ones that I've mentioned so far. And yeah, like I said, go on Discogs if you want to get yourself a physical copy of it. Definitely check out the album Remember Right Now. That you can get that on iTunes or Spotify or whatever, but that's a sick record. I'll probably cover that a little later in this series. But if you never heard Remember Right Now, it's a great record. And in regard to the singer Mark Rose, he actually started with Bob Nana from Bradenham Mercedes a website/community where you can order custom songs called downright.com. And I'm actually on there. There's a bunch of, you'll probably recognize the musicians that are on there, at least a good portion of them, if you were ever into this kind of music back in like the early 2000s, late 90s, etc. But yeah, it's a cool site. You should go there, check that out. I know that now is a tough time, so feel free to order any custom songs from any artist that you like from there. So yeah, check out Downright. In other news, I just finished an interlude for the Red Tape called Money for Wars Interlude, and included some dialogue by MLK, Tupac, and Farrakhan in it, and used a sample of Tupac from the song Keep Your Head Up, where he says,
You know it's funny when it rains and pours. They got money for wolves, they can't feed the poor. I try to find my friends, but they're blowing in the wind. You know it's funny when it rains and pours. They got money for wolves, they can't feed the poor. I try to find my friends, but they're blowing in the wind. You know it's funny when it rains and pours. They got money for wolves, they can't feed the poor. I try to find my friends, but they're blowing in the wind.
We got organization because we peak game, and it's not the mob really that we seeing. It's really the government. They the biggest mob.
and so I'll be dropping that pretty soon. I'm really excited to continue to work on those things while I'm also filming, live band stuff and acoustic videos. I thought maybe I would just plug a little bit from the record. Here's a little clip of my homie Kenny Endy playing on the song Grave Spit on my new full length, Escape Babylon. Yeah, Kenny definitely pimped my ride on this record, played stuff that was far beyond my pay grade, and definitely indebted and thankful to him, as well as the other players on the record. I don't know if I had mentioned also that Jesse Sprinkle, who plays in my cover band Handsome Young Ladies, he also was in the band Demon Hunter and Dead Poetic and Poor Ol' Lou, a bunch of Tooth and Nail bands. Cutlass he was in for a bit. But yeah, he played drums on it. My homie James played bass, played like a 5-stringer, fretless, just good stuff. But yeah, anyway, I have to take my computer into the shop because I've got a virus of some sort. So I have to get that fixed for a little bit. So I probably won't be posting much for the next week or two, but I will be filming music videos in the process. And I do have a couple things to release, throughout that duration that I've already uploaded. So hopefully it won't take long to get my computer back up to speed where it needs to be. But yeah, I just appreciate all your time. Feel free to leave a comment about Spitalfield or any bands that you like that were in that kind of emo-y genre, that roots emo vibe. Yeah, just feel free to interact. So hopefully I'll see you soon. If not, be on the lookout for Money for Wars interlude music video coming to you very soon. Thanks for your time.